Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially healthcare. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.
Listen, all you New Yorkers.
Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
But I want to bring up something which is the most important to you. This is probably the most important issue here. And it's kind of a New York story, but I think it is emblematic of a lot. And it's what I want to discuss, and I don't want to do it under the usual means or versions of this, but several NYPD officers were hit with, now listen to the story, snowballs, and injured after responding to Washington Square Park here in Manhattan on Monday. Now, the story is snowballs. They were hit with snowballs. It sounds like, oh, come on. It was a snowball fight. It was a snowball. Okay. Police say officers responded to the park around 4 p.m. for the report of multiple individuals on top of a roof inside the park. They say the officers were then hit with snowballs, which caused injuries to the officers. Multiple officers were taken to the hospital with lacerations to their face. NYPD Commissioner Jessica Tisch, who's doing a marvelous job, took to social media calling it a behavioral, it's a disgrace and criminal, and that they will be investigating the matter. By the way, I have nothing but respect for this commissioner. I think she's doing a tremendous job. And I think that, and I want to believe, I want to give Zoran Mamdani, our mayor, any benefit of the doubt. Anything that I think he's doing, if it looks like he's trying to do something. I thought his attitude regarding this snow was a little bit better, which I liked. He finally gave a snow day, which is what he should have done. And I think allowing her, permitting her, and wanting her to stay on as commissioner might be, at least theoretically, a prima facie case of him trying to do at least a good job. Now, let me explain to you a couple of things here. And let me back up on this before I jump into, I don't want to get into the visceral. It's very, very easy to get into the visceral. Anybody who touches a cop, by God, okay. And that's okay, and that's good. And I'm not suggesting for a moment that it's not valid, but I want to be a little bit more behaviorally oriented in this context. Number one, symbology matters. Symbols. Also, it's called semiotics, the study of symbols. Humans believe in symbols, hand signals, hats, colors, uniforms, chevrons, rank. In churches, synagogues, we have different ways to greet each other, different sayings, different handshakes. We love symbology and we love order. And the greatest thing that you could ever deliver to a civilization is law and order. Law and order. And I've studied this most of my adult life, and I found that there are some people that are put into the world of criminals, and anytime somebody breaks the law repeatedly, I think is a criminal. Now, sometimes the laws are meaningless. Sometimes they're serious. Sometimes you're kind of in between. Everything from shoplifting to serial killing, they're all criminals. But here is the thing, which is the most important. When you see police, what does the police represent? The police represents the government. The police represent you. The police represents us. Order, law, whatever you want to call it. And when you, and this goes back way long ago to the interstitial parts of the developing humanity and civilization, whether it's the village elder, whether it's, in fact, during the period of time right around, if not before World War II, in Italy, Sicily in particular, the idea of the police were considered to be tools of the feudal land barons. They were not to be trusted. The police, the gendarmerie, the people who ran it, they were corrupt. And there were people, and by the way, not only that, Sicily, and I give this as an example because it's very illustrative. Sicily in particular, the native Sicilians were conquered every other week by every civilization, from the Phoenicians to the Carthaginians to the Canadians would have done it had they known about it. So law and order didn't mean anything, at least vis-a-vis the police, vis-a-vis the government, vis-a-vis the army. But law and order did mean something. The meting out of justice, control, order. So where did they go? What did they do? Whom did they contact, I should say? Simple. The men of honor. The man of honor, l'uomo di onore, the man of, kind of like the elder. This is before the mafia. This is before any of that stuff. This is where you went, because you couldn't go to the police, because every civilization, every group needs law and order. And when you show desecration and disrespect for the group of people, and sometimes, by the way, sometimes, admittedly, in some cases, it's been warranted historically. I was looking at a picture of the two police who were responsible for the death of Emmett Till, laughing. It was brutal. It was barbaric. They representing law and order. They were scoundrels and rapscallions and criminals themselves. But for the most part, it's a different story. So what we have here is a situation of, what do we do? What does this mean? I'm not done with my dissertation because I want you to understand how important this is. I told you, maybe you forgot, but I'm going to tell you again. When Canada was looking at its tourism brochures, Canada could have put a lot of pictures up there, a lot of things up there. They always have the maple leaf. God, they love that maple leaf. They look at a leaf and they go crazy. They just love it. And they had a mountain, or maybe some type of, maybe hockey, or I don't know what, maple syrup. I got maple. Because Canada, wonderful. What, poutine next? I don't know what. Tim Hortons? Who knows? But what I found interesting, more than anything else, on their brochures, on their tourist brochures, what they wanted the rest of the world to know, what they were the most proud of, was the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Their police. This is what they thought of law and order. They on the front. Do you think when you get brochures from coming to New York, the NYPD is on them? Do you think? You people look at you and go, what? Maybe the fire department. Do you think? Do you think it would be? No. And that, by the way, that's just not New York. That's everywhere. That's everywhere. The idea is not. Now, we can argue what caused this. I'm sure you might have said, you know what, maybe there's some problems that we've had in the past. Absolutely. Remember, there was tremendous corruption in Chicago years ago. There was, oh my God, there was corruption. Remember that, what was it, the 7-0, the 7-5, the Mikey Dowd, and oh my God, the 7-5, and oh my God, I hope I'm not getting the wrong precinct, but it happens. The Knapp Commission, every now and then, people on the pad, yeah, I understand. But for the most part, we understand a couple of things here. That if you take these people and you sound the alarm, sound the klaxon, if you said, we need you here and now, pronto, those individuals that you may not particularly care that much about, those individuals that you may not be crazy about, those folks They are there. They are there, and they are not going anywhere. And they show up like clockwork. It's the most incredible thing anybody's ever seen. They show up like clockwork. They show up time after time after time, no matter who you are. And it's one of those things where you say thank you. And if you ever need them, you will thank everything that they exist, that people are there to actually respond. Because very rarely, when something is in progress, for the most part, because of the statistics, because of a lot of things, police do not have the time. Police kind of respond. All right, enough of the dissertation. Here's what I'm saying to you. I firmly believe that when you are allowed to desecrate, to execrate, to blaspheme, to humiliate, a part of the government as important as this, notwithstanding the blemishes, notwithstanding the history, society hurts, society suffers, society will feel the wrath. Consequently, in my heart of hearts, and I'm not one to necessarily, I'm not reactionary, but in the event of the police officers who would respond violently, excessively, not so much that snowballs or because remember, if I can cut you and hurt you depending upon what I put in one, but not because of that, but because of what this represents. I believe that they have the right. I'm not talking about open fire and a massacre, but to be exceedingly aggressive in responding.
Rural Americans deserve access to the best of what our nation has to offer, especially health care. Across every state and every community, America's rural hospitals are the first line of defense, protecting our families, neighbors, and loved ones. No matter where you live, hospital care doesn't clock out. They're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Each year, America's over 5,000 hospitals care for millions of patients, providing 24/7 emergency care, delivering babies, cancer treatments, and other life-saving care that patients rely on. Behind every one of those patients are doctors, nurses, and caregivers working tirelessly to keep people healthy and safe. Hospitals are our community's lifelines. They employ our neighbors and keep our families healthy. But now, some in Congress are threatening access to care. Tell Congress, protect patient care to keep America strong. Don't cut rural health care.